Hi guys, I'm live again. Just want to talk about something. This may be shirtless guy nerding out, but there's a book I was reading I'm going to get back to called the Quadrivium. Quad means four, and basically in classical intellectual pursuit, or whatever you want to call it, study, there were 7 different categories. The first 3 had to do with letters, or letters and words, such you could call it dictionopolis in storybook terms, and then in the last 4 were math or number related, which you could call digitopolis in fairy tale terms. But anyway, the quadrivium refers to the last 4, the numerical studies. And but the first 3 are, let me just go over the first 3. Let me go through all 7. And the Quadrivium basically is a book, based on the 4 studies of the numerical portion of knowledge. I guess you could call it classical knowledge. It might have been the word I was looking for before. The first 3 studies that have to do with words and letters is one of them is grammar. That's considered goodness, virtue, and things like that. Next is rhetoric. That refers to how you put words together, and that could be termed beauty, a beautiful poem and so forth. And then the third one is logic. That refers to thinking processes and all that, and that could be considered truth in the studies, forum. So you have grammar, rhetoric, and logic, which is beauty. Goodness, beauty, and truth. And then you have the last 4. And the book, The Quadrivium, which I got from Barnes & Noble, is the last 4. And I love Barnes & Noble. I tell them a lot of times when I go in there, I say, Barnes & Noble is the new college, because besides the internet and going to college, what else do you have? Well, you have Barnes & Noble, so I love that store. The last 4 are the numerical or number-related fields of study and knowledge. First one is arithmetic. That has to do with numbers themselves, just pure numbers. And by arithmetic, it doesn't have to be just basic math. It could be anything involving, just math itself. And then, And the second one study is, is geometry. Now, geometry is math applied to space, as in 3-dimensional space. So it's numbers applied to space, such as triangle, well that's, or a cube, or dodecahedron, or whatever. It has to do with spatial number representations. The third one is music. Music is basically number in time, like music is very mathematical, but there's no music if you don't progress in time. There's no melody if you don't have one note after the other. There's no harmony if you don't have any melody. Well, there could be harmony, but that's not itself is not music per se. And then as music moves in time, you have rhythm, which is how the music moves in time. Without which, if the music doesn't move in time, you have no rhythm, and it's very hard to call it music. So music is number in time. The third of the Quadrivium. And finally, the fourth one is cosmology. That's a study, planets and the universe and things. Well, that's number in space and time, because it's number in space because cosmology involves spatial, dimensions. How far is the sun from the Earth and things like that, and how many miles diameter is the sun, or whatever. But plus, it also has time, such as how long does the sun live before it burns out. How long does it take light to get sucked into a black hole, or and spatially, how big is a black hole? So cosmology is basically number in space and time. So those are the 4 of the Quadrivium. It's arithmetic, geometry, music, and cosmology. And I'm reading it from cover to cover, but I haven't read it in a few months. But I'm going to pick it up again now that I got a renewed grasp on the subject and my head around it. I'm interested in continuing. I think I had gotten somewhere to music, so I'm about halfway through the book. Anyway, just nerding out. Sorry about that. Don't forget, everybody does have a brain, whether they use it or not. And I happen to have an Aspie, perhaps very intelligent brain, and it can't sit there, my brain, If I try to do nothing with my brain thinks of stuff to do, and it's usually not not that, not you know, it doesn't end up any better than if I decide to do something with my brain. So I like to read and stuff. Love you guys. Peace. Rock and roll.